janky. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Soccerwise. David Goss and Tommy Scoops with you for another fantastic episode. We are going to hit a lot of different things, but to start the show, we've got the biggest thing we could possibly do, which is paying for your debts. Lobbing Scorchers are here, Ari and Noah, so that they can grovel at Tom's feet and apologize for all of the misjustices they've ever made against us over the course of time, but specifically related to Ballard FC and Vermont Green.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
What an intro! Wow.
A few things were said in the lead up to the League Two Natty. We said some things, you guys said some things, and then the outcome is what it is, and we're here to pay our debts.
Mm-hmm.
Sipping on that Seattle, smoking that Seattle pack here. Take that.
Did you paint that yourself, Tom?
I know that it looks crappy, but no, I appreciate you even considering that I did. Hold on, let me show you.
His would be way worse.
Watch.
Oh, we got a prop.
Is Tom a painter?
Oh, wow.
How bad this is, dude.
Grateful Dead chalice.
Yeah.
Was this from like a Tuesday wine and art party in Brick, New Jersey?
I got my wife one of those paint and sip. No, not paint and sip. It was something. I don't even know what it was.
So
called.
I was right.
But she made like a beautiful vase if you're nasty, and like something else that like we use regularly. And then I turned to her like a 9-year-old and was like, "Look at the cup I made," and she's like, "That's so nice. You can put it in your office. Like, get it away."
So speaking of offices, Ari, you seem to be in a pretty normal professional situation. Noah, what's your deal right now?
Well, thank you, one, for having us, and two, for accepting our wager. I guess maybe I should have been hopeful that you didn't accept our wager. We'll talk more about how that was a fraudulent win later. But I am in a treehouse right now. I was dropping some lore earlier, but one of my friends is a recording artist. There you go. You see that? Wasn't that nice? And he's working on a new album. So we're out here on Orcas Island. One of the many things that's just better than Vermont about Washington in general is we have the San Juan Islands. So I took a ferry over here to detox, detach, record some music. Not me. You would never hear me singing. But we're here in the treehouse / recording studio because listen, I don't care if I'm camping in a yurt. I am coming on Soccerwise. Listen, I own my bets. I own my bets, all right? I don't need Tom over here calling the Italian mob on me, all right? Like, I can't have it, okay?
The word is mafia
I like
that you're
ice
looking
cream
for.
too much. I have to be able to go to the ice cream shops, okay? It's just, that's how it goes.
Are you in a tree house that's elevated because you're scared of being eaten by orcas, which is the other advantage of being in the Pacific Northwest?
Great.
Correct, but the fun fact here is that orcas really they don't really mess with people except like rich people on yachts. So I mean, however your take on that is, or
We're big orca fans.
Sponsoring
We're big
the show,
orca fans.
Yeah, like this could be a positive thing.
Yeah, sounds like professional recording artist Noah over there is looking down on his fellow riches as he talks about it. Ari, you were not in the video originally, placing the bet on the Ballard Vermont Green. I assume you orchestrated the whole thing?
I actually did not orchestrate the whole thing and found out about it when I saw the video like you guys did. But I was with it right away. I thought I was feeling pretty confident. Ballard FC had a great season. I didn't even know Vermont Green was a team until I found out Ballard FC was playing them. So I was like, all right, they got this. Just a little trip to Burlington, Daleville, whatever, and take home the natty. Didn't pan out like that, but I was all for the wager. Thought we had it in the bag, but unfortunately didn't pan out like that.
No, you went rogue.
I did. I often do.
It's a wild card, dude.
Yeah. Well, it was great because Tom didn't know either.
Yeah.
From what I heard.
I saw the videos.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got we know who runs these shows here. We know who's on the front foot. Tom was 20 minutes late to this, so it's even better. He was breaking some news about Jackson Reagan's dog had to get its you get fixed. I don't know. Is this bit good? I'm just
Petered
gonna-
out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
it started with
it
promise.
It was a good idea. Yeah.
Tom didn't know about the bet, and yet within 30 seconds of the game ending, you got all caps text from Tommy Scoops telling you to grovel at his feet. He's not going to let a W go by.
That's fair.
Eating W's.
No, I mean, I respect it, man. I also played D3 soccer for a minute, and I know, like, you
Did
got to
you?
take your wins when you can get them.
That sounds like a bit.
Well, the bit was that, like, the team that I was on, we didn't win a single game. So
Oh,
that was,
God.
yeah.
Tough.
But I guess that's lore. I'm not on my bits today, guys. I'm in the treehouse.
He's thinking about bars.
Your life is
above. I'm on a higher level. I'm on a
yeah.
higher
Also,
level.
in this scenario, your life, just the way it's functioning, is the bit, because you're in a
Correct.
treehouse on an island around orcas. There were parts of the bet that we have to get through. So the first part is this: you owe us hot sauces. What is the flavoring? What's the situation with this hot sauce, and when should I expect it?
This is our world famous Hoxton Ferments Lobbing Scorchers sauce. We are going to get you some bottles shipped out, as well as to your admin on social media, because
Shout out Morgan.
we love sharing the wealth. But if you want to get it, lobbingscorchers.com/sauce. It's a really great sauce. We recommend it on breakfast burritos. We're both breakfast burrito fiends. We love them. But it's so good. It's almost like a green salsa, like very tomatillo forward, not too spicy, but you get the kick a little bit after, but it's not one of those where you're like, So we took about 3 months to produce this. It's all locally made here in Seattle, works with local farmers, all that kind of stuff. It is so good. And we will be sending you over a nice little care package from Hoxton Ferments. So we appreciate that. You can enjoy it. And that's the least bad part of this bet. Cause really, we got the shill, and you guys get to taste the greatest sauce of all time. So,
All right, I find it funny you've never heard of Vermont Green, yet you made a Vermont Green themed hot sauce.
Well, it's green.
Yeah, I mean, that's
It's green.
it is
blue on the label.
green. It's kind of unfortunate that Vermont Green and the Seattle Sounders are both green, because don't we have to
Yeah.
do we renounce the color green, or do we have to
I think
I
you
honestly
should-
don't even know the terms. I forgot.
Yeah, you should give us a list of all the things you hate about green, and I will ask you about
Okay.
specific greens as we go through it, and you can tell me the terrible things about them.
You get to keep kale.
I
dude.
think Ari should start there.
Yeah. So
I'm
Ari,
putting
that
Ari
is
on
the
the spot.
second half of this bet. Is you have to renounce the color green and tell us how terrible it is.
I hereby on Soccerwise renounce the color green. It's always been a terrible color. As you can see, the Seattle Sounders have gone blue. They don't even like the color green anymore. So the color green is renounced by Lobbing Scorchers hereby in recognition of the Vermont Green, who, Ballard FC lost to a color. So
Yeah,
that's
how do you
pretty
lose to a color?
that's pretty degrading, honestly. But yeah, I don't know what else. Noah, is there anything else to renounce here?
Well, I think for one, you should go and turn that green light off in your background. I think that's part of it. You're gonna
Take the
just
jerseys off the wall.
turn that off. Take those
I got a
jerseys
lot of
down.
green behind me, so
Yeah,
kind of
you
not.
know, I also will renounce the color green. Famously, I love just gray, just gray things.
Are you
Plants
depressed?
that are dead.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the world, is really the Midwest. And I can't ever get behind green, and I will never wear the color green again. I will make sure that I send you some videos getting rid of all my green clothes.
Yeah.
And the Sounders really, I will be talking to their director of brand, and I will make sure that they get rid of the color green as well. Rave Green, terrible color. Mauve green, olives, lettuce, cucumber, asparagus. It's all bad. And,
I brought up a
will-
list of shades of green. Turns out
Okay.
Sacramento is a shade of green.
Okay,
Didn't know that.
I'm okay with distancing myself from that one, to be honest with you. I'm okay with that.
Parakeet is a
Sacktown.
shade of green. Fern is a shade of green. Chartreuse.
Chartreuse. Ooh, that is a good mouthfeel.
Yeah, I haven't heard a chartreuse reference.
We
in a minute.
denounce it though. We denounce it.
I denounce chartreuse. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like I should call HR after just the words mouthfeel made me uncomfortable.
I disavow mouthfeel and chartreuse.
And everyone in Seattle will know you hate Rave Green and you live there and you have to for the rest of your lives, and that's a reality.
Yeah, I apologize to all of the Vermont fans. I wasn't familiar with your game. I didn't realize that there were that many of you in that state to be able to go to a game like that. I denounce our shit talking, but I look forward to, and now we're even. All right. Oh, look at this. Look at this guy. This guy literally went into the locker room and stole the team merch. Stole the team
Boom,
merch.
right there.
That's pretty sick. You did sound good on the call, I will say.
Thank you.
I was
Appreciate that.
at my grandfather's 88th birthday, holding my iPhone while he was, singing and blowing out his candles of some of his last moments of his life. So this is how much this game meant to me. And to hear the sweet songs of David Goss was just incredible.
So you had the same experience as Bernie Sanders' staff, apparently, because he sat and streamed the game as well, around a similar age, probably doing a similar thing.
Yeah, they went to college together back in 1910, so that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
They're
Bernie
both
Sanders
Brooklyn
team up
Dodgers
is
fans.
great. Yeah, they're both Brooklyn Dodgers fans. Seattle Sockeyes.
So now that we've gotten you to work through all your bets, I will tell you this. Knowing Tom as I do, he's happy to go double or nothing. So if you could think of the next thing, Tom's back at the table. He's got the dice back in his hands.
Soccerwise sponsored crowbar. Is that what we're going to put on the table here?
Oh. I mean, I think...
You guys
What
can
do we
think
even
about
bet?
it. You don't have to have... You
Yeah.
can use the time in the woods to consider what you want.
I'm gonna have
What
to
you-
ponder
Here's what
how
I'll
we
say.
can
Here's what I'll say.
exploit Tom's gambling degeneracy.
Yeah, I think we got to get you guys out here for like a live show in Washington because,
Pay
the
for the
East
flights.
Coast, like I've said, it's not great. It's not great. I lived there. It's not great. We need to bring you out here to the West Coast, and maybe we can involve some sort of travel in this bet, so that we can really bankrupt each other. That's a good double or nothing. Make the podcast budget 0.
Yeah. I feel better about betting when I feel like I'm about to fall off a cliff.
How you feel alive?
My team loses. Okay, speaking of all of this, before we let you guys go, speaking of feeling alive, I know both of you obviously hating the color Rave Green, but also being around the Seattle Sounders. Do you feel like a lot of children grew up dreaming that one day the Seattle Sounders would be the number one team in stage 3 of phase 1 of the League's Cup coming into the MLS only table? Is that like a huge moment in the city's history?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been saying, dating back years that phase 1 of League's Cup is among the most coveted tables that you want to finish at the top of. So honestly, I mean, they don't even need to play the rest of the tournament as far as I'm concerned. Go out on top, 3-0-0 plus 9 GD. That's about as good as the trophy. So
Yeah, I
Will there-
agree. It's amazing. Go for
Will
it.
there be a
David.
trophy created for this? Is that the feeling around
Well,
the
if we
club?
phase
have-
1.
If
Phase
we
1
have
trophy.
the tin pot supporters shield, which isn't really mean anything, I think that we should get one for this.
I don't disagree with you. I think I appreciate that the club had the vision to ship Club World Cup group stage to focus on this.
Well, we've been saying for a long time that League's Cup is the greatest tournament ever created, and that we are very pro MLS created tournaments in general. Like just the Open Cup, like whatever, that's fine. We want the history and the honor and the greatness of this hourglass shaped trophy. All right, like this is what we truly want. To get to the final the first year, this is Sounders heritage. Okay, this is Sounders heritage. We need this trophy, and Pro League's Cup podcast famously. So
It's why you guys are huge playoff fans as well, because with 9 games to go, they finally announced the playoff format, Major League Soccer. And I think you're both very in favor of late announcement, quick changing competitions over and over again that are invented by Major League Soccer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with everything that Noah said about Leagues Cup, unless the Sounders had crashed out, in which case it's a cynical cash grab, meaningless
Correct.
trophy that no one cares about. But it was kind of crazy watching the game last night. Like going to the game, I was like, man, they've won the first 2 games. They dropped 7 goals on Cruz Azul. Like they should be in like pole position to advance, which they were. But then it's like, oh wow, if they lose, they're out. So this format it's a little weird, but it did make it every single game. There's like no margin for error, high stakes, because if they lost that game last night, they would have straight up been out of it, despite the 2 wins to start.
What was y'all's reaction over the 7-0? Maybe you already talked about it. Famously, I've been in a treehouse away from the world, so I didn't hear it. But I'll give you a little insight here. In the press box, I have never seen a press box actually like erupt like we were in the supporters section. That Pedro de la Vega goal, every single reporter next to me in a line stood up and just went like this.
Surrender
It
Cobra.
was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, surrender Cobra, literally.
Pedro, the announcer said De La Vega, and then when they zoomed in on him, I was like, that couldn't have been him. 2, cut off the hair, all of that. I was like, is this right? Did I just am I hallucinating? Like that was one of the greatest goals I've ever seen in my life. And for that to be the 7th and a 7-0 win, unreal. Like what a moment. And
Tom was so inspired by it. He wanted to start the next show with me questioning me, like, is Pedro de la Vega here? Has he arrived? Is this the player that can carry this team? Like Tom was fully bought in from that 1 goal.
I did actually do that. They had more than 1 goal. So yeah, could you guys think this team can win the West?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely can, and they certainly can if De La Vega turns out to be this type of player. We're still talking about like a relatively small sample size of him playing like a demigod. But the thing is, the things that he's showing in these last few games are those just types of moments of individual brilliance that just the fact that we're seeing that he has that stuff in his bag, it's like, all right, if he is even semi-consistently playing at this level, it's a pretty big ceiling changer for this team. Like this team has a very strong foundation, but like I think the criticism in the last couple of years is they've lacked that kind of individual brilliance, game-changing type player. So if De La Vega is that, then I think this team can contend for this Leagues Cup and be a playoff contender for sure.
I do too.
Yeah,
so I want to start with saying, yes, I do believe that this team is fully capable of winning the West, and the West is a little bit more open than I think the top 3 looks like. Like, again, I think Seattle, LAFC, and Portland are absolutely in the mix, and it's not like a heavy favorite situation. But the only worries for me is that, again, a small sample size, but the last 4 MLS games, they've conceded 9 goals against some giants in the league of Kansas City, Colorado, Atlanta, and San Jose. And Jackson Reagan and Ymar paired 2 of those 4 games. Each of them played 3 of those 4 games. So it wasn't like everybody was injured. And with Jordan Morris, like somebody said in the chat, like if he's healthy, they're a legit cup contender. I agree. He's played 45 plus minutes. He has not played 45 minutes more in a game since March 11th. March 11th. Yeah. Like, so it's a bigger if than I think that I noticed, like, because he was in and out and came back, and I thought that he had a run of games, but anytime that he's gotten a little momentum, he's gotten hurt again.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a little bit more hesitant on Pedro de la Vega than literally every single person on the entire planet. He gives me PTSD. I'm just like let's just like let him do his thing, but like I don't want to put all that on him. Like I don't know. It's hard for me to really get on that hype train just yet. I said it after that banger golazo though, that like at least he had made his mark in multiple matches, that he had kind of announced himself as being someone who could be a game-changing player. Finally playing on the left for the first time in his Sounders career, which is what he played at Lanús and all of these other places, which is surprising that we never saw him out there until now. You see Paul Rothrock now playing on the right. You see Ryan Kent playing. Ryan Kent now injured, and also Albert Rusnak injured. We don't know to the extent of that. But to me, even with those two players going down, how deep this team is, I still am not super concerned with that. That's crazy. When you lose your DP10, the guy who's been powering basically the entire offense and has been an MVP, like he's been getting MVP shouts, granted, lower tier, probably like oh yeah, he's like could be maybe. But regardless, he goes down. We don't know how long he's going to be out. You've got a winger who's a European star who goes out, and you're like, oh no, we're like, I don't feel super nervous. So I think the Sounders do have the opportunity to win the West. I don't know if that's going to actually happen. I think there's been so many games where they've just dropped silly points. And at the end of the day, like, if someone else gets hot in the West, it's wide open, and you just really never know. So I'm interested to see. What I'm really more interested to see, though, I think they could take this League's Cup. Like, I hope that they truly, go for it. And it seems like, from what I've heard from Brian and from the players, is that it's like a player-led movement. They want to cook on this League's Cup. They just played in the Club World Cup. They felt like they kind of played well and they like held to themselves, but they wanted a result. They wanted to show that like we're here and we can play with the biggest teams in the world, and they did. And now they want to say, okay, listen, Liga MX teams, you're nothing to us. You're just a 7-0 blip on the map. We are going to make sure that we get your coach fired. That's what they want. And so I am excited to see this play out. And as for the West, I'm not sure yet, but
it is the fastest route to a CCC spot for them, and you have to assume, just based off the way the results have gone, there's a decent chance they play an MLS team in a semifinal. So like, there is a pretty quick, from this point now, 2-game road to that CCC spot, which maybe no club in MLS cares about more than Seattle. So it makes a ton of sense. Can I ask you, what's the deal with Jesus Ferreira? Like, what does he do?
What does he do?
Yeah.
Well, that was a very polarizing question among the fan base earlier this season. It was a lengthier process than I think most would have liked to figure out exactly what his role is on the team. Like, I watched him on FC Dallas for years, so I felt like I had a pretty good handle on his game. But watching him like week in, week out, it definitely became a thing of like, what is exactly his position? Like, is he going to be a number 10? Are they going to play him out wide? Can he play up top? They ran him up top a couple times. It didn't really work. It felt like he just wasn't really fitting. But in the last month or so, they've kind of given him consistent run in this wide channel, which he doesn't really play it like a traditional winger, like a Ryan Kent or De La Vega or a Rothrock. But he has found a way to be effective and productive in that spot in this last run of games here. And I've loved how he's been looking lately. He's a very unselfish player. He combines with other guys very well. He would rather get an assist than a goal, so I appreciate that about him. The goal scoring numbers have not been there to what were expected so far, but he has started scoring in these last few games. So I actually I think his stock is up right now. I know he banged a header off the post last night from point blank range, but it feels like the goals that he used to score at FC Dallas are he's starting to get those with Seattle, which it feels like it's paying off to what we all were hoping when they made this trade, which we were touting the trade at the time because we both watched Jesus Ferreira on FC Dallas when he was a best 11 player. So
I was at his first game when he scored that banger.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's even another level to be reached there as he continues to get more integrated and comfortable.
Yeah, it would be nice because on this show I was like, "Whoa, that's a DP on a non-DP spot."
Right.
We saw what he did in Dallas.
Felt call like us Inter Miami, easier. Baby. Come on.
Father Sarducci is what we're getting you called right now, Noah. By the way,
Father Guido Sarducci.
Yeah. Let me close you guys out on this one. This is a big question for anyone who's like sort of experienced in Seattle and understands the club and everything they've built. It's a city of great, I think, star players, but also especially center forwards. So rank these 5 center forwards and where they sit in the club's history. Clint Dempsey, Obafemi Martins, Raul Ruiz Diaz, Blazing Kufo, and Osaze de Rosario.
No, now Danny Musovsky. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's Moose? What is this?
Bro, he's already old news. This is D-Row country now. If there's
That's
a
a-
game Seattle plays going forward that D-Row does not start and he's not injured, there should be investigations on what's going on.
Tom, can we get the D-Row celebration?
I like that.
don't have
I
enough
like that
space.
take on D-Row. But I mean,
to warm up.
I got Rui Diaz 1. I don't know if you would dispute that, Noah, but whenever I get asked this question, I put Rui Diaz 1. I think Obafemi Martins is a good shout. Dempsey, it's like he was one of those guys that didn't really have like a real position. I don't really consider him a pure 9 like that, but as far as like the top 2, I think it goes Rui Diaz, Oba. Rui Diaz, the differentiating factor being the trophies that he helped lead the team to, and then Obafemi Martins. People forget, but I mean, some of the goals that guy scored were insane. So
I know this
that's
was
my
just a
top
big
2.
big question to do the Osaze joke, but like Freddie Montero not being here hurts.
Yeah,
I wasn't even gonna have you answer this question.
Ari took
I
a
just
4.5 minute answer.
Yeah.
The Osaze
Don't worry, though.
question.
Listen, you love.
Oh, Noah's
Freddie,
got
don't
7
you
minutes
worry.
on this now. Clear out.
He's got some crypto to sell you, buddy. He's got some crypto to sell you for your gambling habits. You're ready to go. Hit him up.
We're talking Freddie on this.
Yeah, dude. He's a
Hell
big
yeah.
NFT guy. He got
Hell
in
yeah.
early and also
Yeah.
lost a lot of money early on that, but you know,
Great.
it's okay.
That's good to know on both fronts, just to make
You
sure.
know what? I'm gonna say it. De Rosario won.
Boom.
Yeah, okay.
And the rest
Thank
don't
you.
Who else
matter.
has
The rest
who else
don't
has
matter.
won a phase 1 match and therefore phase 1 standings on that
Literally in
list?
the
Musovsky.
history, dude. Never happened. Danny Musovsky. But
Yeah.
I think we should note here.
a package
I was
deal.
famously a Danny Musovsky hater because he did look like he had no feet, not even 2 left feet. Just looked like he had no feet at the beginning of the season. But he found his stride, and dude, what a steal! What a steal for a backup 9 who's basically had to play as the starting 9 the entire season behind Jordan Morris's injured everything. Dude's killing it. Like, I think he's gonna, if they win a trophy this season, he has to go down as like one of the best like dog signings. Just like lucky, like not lucky. I know his numbers and stuff is like awesome, but what a deal by
If this
Craig
was the
Waddle there.
Oscars, you'd be getting music in the background.
That's, you know what? Play me out.
Tom
Only if you write the bars.
Tom
Done.
threatened to kick your mic off in the opening 3 minutes, so I think we've actually made it farther than we
Yeah, it's a good
expected.
point. Underdog story.
You guys, promo Lobbing Scorchers, promo Sounder at Heart, anything you want to do before you get out of here?
Yeah, sub to our
go for
YouTube, Lobbing Scorchers YouTube. Buy the hot sauce at lobbingscorchers.com/sauce. It's great. It's a great hot sauce. The genesis being our blazing hot coach press conference of the week segment. So, is there anything else? I think that's it.
We're
So-
on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok.
all of that kind of stuff. Basically, anywhere you want to find us is Lobbing Scorchers.
Yeah.
And you know, we love our Soccerwise boys. If you guys do, or if you are a Sounders fan and you listen and you don't know what Sounder at Heart is, sounderatheart.com/ls. You can scroll down, subscribe, and support. They are doing their yearly membership drive. It's what keeps Sounder at Heart independent. They do incredible reporting. Jeremiah Oshan, Nico Moreno, Ari writes there. He writes a weekly, what's it called?
Thing.
Newsletter. I don't
Yeah.
read my email, so I don't actually get that. But, you know, if you like reading emails, I'll tell you what, Sounder at Heart's got a lot of emails for you, so go check them out. They rock, and they help fund our show, so we appreciate them.
You guys do incredible work. Again, jokes aside, it's Seattle are really lucky with Sounder at Heart with you guys with everything else they got going on. So anybody listening, check them out. Noah and Ari are the best.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you guys.
Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate you
bridges.
guys. We'll
Up the
we'll have you
bridges.
on again soon. Next bet.
Next
Sounds
bet. Let's
good.
go.
All right. And on that note, now we can move into our full-on Phase 2 Leagues Cup conversation as Noah
Phase
goes back
two,
into
phase two, the next phase of our show.
Yeah. Treehouse. I will say for anyone out there listening who is a general soccer fan in America, you should subscribe to Sounder at Heart because they cover MLS, NWSL as leagues as well as any platform that we have. We don't have a lot of places that cover these leagues. That is why we have built Soccerwise and what we are doing. But they are one of them. So yeah, Lobbing Scorchers, great show. They're on live a ton on YouTube if you're ever looking for something to watch, something to hang out and sort of soak in the soccer vibes with. And we always have fun hanging out with them. And Tom, you can cook up your next bet with them, and I will do it. I will be the one, the face of it once again, because I have that confidence in you and me, what we do. I love that someone threw Eber in the chat and his acquisition by Seattle back in the day, because I still believe that Eber is going to be a legit addition. Tom, do you want to talk about not being able to pronounce people's names or understanding them, or do you want to get into Leagues Cup?
Excuse? Oh, I thought that I was like, did I mispronounce somebody's name? Yeah,
No.
let's do that real quick. So if you subscribe to our Patreon, you're in the Discord. Things go sideways. It's always fun. It's always interesting. And sometimes like you just want to go to things that are sideways. So one person in the chat, like Nico Gioacchini for some reason got referenced, and somebody was like I'm not too proud to admit, I thought that his name was Joe Aquini. Like his first name was Joe and his last name was Aquini. And I was like, we need to stop everything now and lean into all of this. Because for me, the like old school, like legendary NFL running back, his name is Franco Harris. I thought his name was Frank O. Harris. Two different people there. So I asked around for people in the chat what that they've just had wrong for years and years. I think my favorite one was somebody says, my sister-in-law thought Justin Tuck on the Giants was Justin Tuck because he's a defensive end, and they would put him in the lineup as D.E. Justin Tuck, so she thought it was Justin. And then another one said Ache when we would talk about Hector Herrera. He's like, is that another player? I have no idea. So those are the fun ones. Got you have anything?
Ache is a good one. I appreciate that. I assume my Max Falcone thing goes in here, even though I just like made that up completely. I think his name is Maxi Falcone, and therefore I decided
Maxi
his name was Max Falcone when he's playing the Falcone character. So I guess that would be my version of it. I love this as well. I love that you thought he was Frank O.
Those are two different dudes. Yeah, I don't know if Frank O. Harris makes the NFL.
Mike from Lions Den says greatest Irishman in NFL history. So maybe he does back in the day. Terry Bradshaw would throw to him if he had to. Let's dig into Leagues Up. By the way, we've gotten a lot of questions about this. We are at Soccerwise very excited that Tom Brady figured out how to fix soccer.
Jesus.
We were able to see some of that interview as well. So yeah, we're all on board. Like I think we're all really excited to have the American Lamine Yamal, and then if we're really
Good concept.
at soccer, then other people will like it, and then it will be fun. So that's something that Soccerwise is like fully behind, and we're gonna do everything we can to try and help that continue to be a reality and everything else. Let's talk Leagues Cup and where we stand right now. So doing this show on a Thursday, luckily we don't actually know who has qualified for the next round and how it is set up. We know most of the qualifiers. So on the Liga MX side, Toluca, Pachuca, and Tigres have all clinched their spot in the next round. Only the top 4 teams of 18 qualify for the next round. That is something people are not stoked about, as we have learned over the last few days. Puebla right now sits in the 4th spot. If Juarez gets pretty much any result tonight, they will jump Puebla and they will move into the top 4 spots. On the MLS side, Seattle and Miami have clinched their spots. And then Orlando and Portland currently sit in the final 2 spots right now. They could be passed by the LA Galaxy or FC Cincinnati. I'm going to feel safe in saying Orlando is in. They have a +6 goal differential because they smoked Necaxa last night, 5-1. And Portland are behind them with a +5 GD. LA Galaxy would need to win, and they would need to win by 2+ goals to pass Portland, and then 3+ goals to pass Orlando. Feels somewhat unlikely, although the funny part about Leagues Cup and the way the whole thing has lined up is the teams that are out have absolutely nothing to play for. So the possibility maybe that you could run up a score if you get ahead exists for these teams. For Cincinnati, they would need to make it dramatic. They play Chivas at home. The LA Galaxy play Santos Laguna at 11:15 Eastern time tonight. Or maybe that game even got pushed back further because it's a double header and they're worried that the first game might go to penalty kicks and therefore they have to fit the second one in. So that is where we stand right now, Tom. Any big thoughts on these Leagues Cup teams and the potential of Leagues Cup? You're muted.
Well, just because we're fresh off that Orlando game and that 5-1 win, the Muriel hat trick in 11 or minutes or whatever, the Martino Hayter golazo. Oh my God! Like between that and the Pedro de la Vega goal that we talked about with Noah and Ari, just 2 of the most fun goals I've ever seen. Just the way I was it's one of those goals that make you say I wish just one time in my life I could hit a ball like that, right? It's just so aesthetically pleasing. But in terms of bigger picture, the biggest takeaway is whether or not we like the format. That may or may not change, probably will change, because they don't keep any format the same for 2 years in a row ever for playoffs or Open Cup or Leagues Cup or anything else. So I think this is an improvement. No, I know that this is an improvement because it is only MLS versus Liga MX games. It does not pause the season for 5 weeks, so that if you lose early in the group stage, teams would be off for several weeks, or like Minnesota didn't have a home game for like 5 or 6 weeks last year. So that's an improvement. The top 4 getting in out of 18 leaves a lot of these last match day games, wanting something, right? Like you lose your first game, you're out. It's over. Pretty much, like almost definitely. Like we're gonna find out after tonight, but pretty much the teams that get through are gonna have at least 7 points. So you lose one time, and it's over. So there's too many games that end up becoming meaningless, or too many games that like looked like they were gonna be awesome. LAFC Tigres, that ended up being a good game, but like LAFC like didn't put Mwanga in the squad, let alone on the bench. Like, and I would have done the same thing if I was them. Like the teams are doing everything right. So people have said top 8, that probably makes the most sense. But again, there's just not enough days to play all of these games. So
yeah, the problem with top 8 is then you have to have a bigger
round.
Next round and another quarterfinals after that.
Yeah. And so like, I don't know what you do or how you do it because again, like these players, just too many games in too short of a period. And like, there has to be some sort of push-pull. I know that the Club World Cup won't happen every year, but like, let's say Miami, Seattle, or LAFC gets to the next round, and again, Seattle and Miami are already through. And LAFC already eliminated, but like that's just so many games for these teams, particularly over the summer, and it's not fair to the players. It's not fair to the clubs and everything. And then MLS resumes on Saturday, so yes, 8 teams getting through would be better, but you need to take away something, like whether it's the best of 3 for the playoffs or whether it's I don't even know what else you could cut because MLS obviously doesn't control the FIFA calendar, doesn't control what the European teams are doing. It's just yes, that's better, but it's just too much.
Yeah, I think the question is like a bunch of games that are not worth watching all at the same time, all close together, better than whatever other system you create? Because I think I would assume the organizing of this, they don't want to make it like full on Champions League midweeks that are spaced across a calendar because then you have teams traveling to and from the US more often. And that becomes sort of a pain. That's like one solution, which then you can like space out the schedule. And then the other one being that if you put more teams into the next round, which Efrain Juarez would like for us to do, based off what he said coming out of the Pumas Inter Miami game, then you have another round and you have extra matches and all of that. Ari clearly is team format because he said going to the Seattle game, they'd already won twice. You felt the pressure, all of that. So like some of it worked to some extent. And I think having it all congested is definitely a better idea so that you don't like disappear from the season. It's crazy to me that there are MLS games this weekend. I find that really, really odd. Like it's a disadvantage to the Leagues Cup teams, which are all the teams that qualified for last year's playoffs. So it feels like a weird thing to like punish in a way and have like this quick turnaround and come out of. The other thing that I've heard a ton of from people, and it's just not part of the financial plan of all of this, which is why all of this feels wonky because it's not really geared in soccer, is having Mexico teams be at home. Like it is tough to just watch neutral site games, I guess is what you call it, right? Club America hosting in Austin, and I get it. Club America, Chivas, Tigres, they're outliers. But even in that, it wasn't like Q2 was filled last night hosting Portland. So, like, you don't even get the full-on atmospheres. You don't get the full advantage. You don't touch base with that. And I don't know if that's, like, having Cholos and Juarez and Monterrey be neutral site hosts in Mexico and having, like, at least a little bit of a closer trip, but have it be some sort of crossover. I don't know how you solve that part, but it is really hard to watch, like, Monterrey play neutral site games in Cincinnati and get up for it. And I think if the atmospheres aren't there, then the environment, like you feel it through the TV, and that makes it harder to care about. And then but then like you're gonna have Seattle home games and Club America, and you're gonna have Tigres in LA, and like all of that feels really cool and feels really big. But that's the same targeting you've always done. That's what Interliga was back in the day, and Superliga, and That's what all these summer tours are about. So if that's all it is, and the reality you've walked away from is like Puebla and Juarez are not going to draw a crowd across 97% of the US, then I think you have to acknowledge that at some point and stop trying to like jam this in.
Yeah, and like again, I do hope for the future that the games are on both sides of the border, that in Mexico and in America and Canada, but we'll see. And then it just becomes like if you're like Olympia or any non-Mexican Liga MX or MLS team that gets the CONCACAF Champions Cup, it's like isn't this just the same except they're squeezing us out? So again, there is no like. I generally like this tournament, like, but it's a little bit difficult to, make it ideal. And I don't have a good solution. So that's why I try to preface all of my criticisms with like, there is no perfect solution because the best solutions are more games and more travel. And then, okay, is that too much like CONCACAF Champions Cup? And first and foremost, there's no room. So it's a difficult one. I like it. We'll see if it portends anything else down the road or let's, whenever MLS flips the calendar, maybe it goes in the winter or the timing changes. So that's the thing. Like this is going to keep changing, going to keep evolving. The best of Leagues Cup is really good, and I've said that from the beginning. But the worst of Leagues Cup is really bad. So they need to find out how to raise that floor, and it'll be something.
So as I said, the LA Galaxy and Cincinnati are the ones to watch tonight. Galaxy is the late game. Cincinnati in that early window. The Red Bulls also have an outside shot at making it into the next round. They are playing tonight as well. So those are the ones you're going to want to tune into. Those are the ones you're going to want to watch. And then we will move into, as we go through our phases, we will move into midweek matches between leagues games. So you'll have normal games on the weekends, and you'll have Leagues Cup stuff in the middle, and then the final and the third place match, because the third place team gets a CCC spot. So there is a playoff for that. That will be on a weekend, and you will move league games that weekend for the teams that have that. Also, a reminder for the Red Bulls who play and could qualify for this, they have the Philadelphia Union in a U.S. Open Cup makeup game next week. So it could become a bit of a congestion issue for them going into it. Columbus, 5th place. They are fully eliminated from this one. That's like what you talk about, which is you see at a point in the opening game that you should have gotten 3. The whole thing was over. For performances in this tournament, I think RSL are one of the big winners. Like they played well. I thought they outplayed Club America. They beat Querétaro yesterday. They put all the pressure on Querétaro, like only a 1-0 win, but they dominated that game. So I think this is one of those teams where it's like took it seriously and could be something that helps them turn things around going into league play. They also were able to debut some of their big signings to sort of get them into the system and get them comfortable. Big piece of news coming out of last night, Lionel Messi out injured for Inter Miami. I believe the report is that it's day today, right?
Yeah, so they announced that they gave him scans and it just said like muscle discomfort. Like it wasn't a tear. It was like so Javier Mascherano said that like he recovers pretty quickly, probably not going to be ready. He's indicating like week to week rather than he's out 4 to 6 weeks, right? Like so it's more of a short-term thing, but they don't have an exact timetable because he's close enough and whenever he's ready he'll play and that's it.
They looked okay without him. Luis Suarez did his like full-on imitation of Messi. Had the assist on, was it the third goal for Allende to slip that one through? So a lot to figure out for this team. For the next round, by the way, because Seattle and Inter Miami were the top 2 teams, they will host at their site. There are Liga MX teams that have hosting privileges. We have to see who gets through and who they play against to see who would end up hosting. Like, for example, the Galaxy have hosting privileges. So if the Galaxy get through, they would host. If they don't get through, now you have teams that are further down on the hosting privilege thing. I think it's key to keep these things as complicated as possible because they're things people already like half don't care about. So to make sure that they're harder to understand is really, really big. Let's dig into our favorite part of the year. Noah talked about it at the beginning, the ice cream shop. He loves a little bit of gelato in his life, a little bit of lactose, as we all do. Tommy Scoops, it has been a long few weeks for you. We've had the groundbreaking big time signings, the record stuff, and then Fluminense decided they wanted to be the 31st MLS club as well. So I'm glad you're working on your Portuguese. Dig us in a little bit.
Let's start with the official moves. Again, everybody knows this, but Thomas Muller is officially a Vancouver Whitecap. Son Heung-min is officially an LAFC player. Did you watch any of his unveiling, Goss?
I did not.
I get that these are things that have to happen, but it was pretty tough. It was pretty tough. The LA councilwoman said, son, we want to help USA win the World Cup or something to that effect. And it was a lot of pageantry, a lot of politicians, and then Son got to talk after 30 minutes. But it happens.
Can I say, by the way, better that it's a council person than a reporter? Like, not
I agree.
her space. Someone should have written her notes better, fine. People are, like, so upset about this. Like, oh, my God, America, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, this person doesn't know. They don't care. But it's worse when it was the reporter in Chicago being like, I'm going to make sure I'm there and I'm going to ask a question and not know what's going on.
But yeah, like it was an interesting press conference. Like, everything you hear about Son Heung-min about like how incredible of a person like he is, like it just exuded there. Even like he's transcontinental flight, does a medical, goes to the game 2 nights ago, all this, like he's probably done interview after interview, like photos, like all the stuff that you do when you get signed. And he's sitting there like smiling, polite, like laughing and like trying to like gave some good quotes, was doing most of it in English. They had a translator because obviously he's been at Spurs forever, but like getting some stuff in his native language and then that being translated. Like, I don't know, man. You can really feel the magnitude of how big he is and how great that's going to be. And then as for Mueller, like he hasn't been unveiled yet. He hasn't been unveiled yet in terms.
He hasn't
of
been
like
discovered yet.
in terms of a press conference, but I think that'll happen when he arrives. I believe that he gave a quote that he'll, in a week or two, be able to debut or ready to debut, something like that. So he's not playing this weekend. I'd be positively shocked if Son has paperwork to be able to play this weekend, but who knows? It's all different for every team. So that's where it's at with those 2 players. But again, guys, we've covered them ad nauseum already for good reason, and we will talk about it. So unless you have anything else, I don't know. I don't have anything.
No, I'm excited to watch Son play. Like, I'm excited to see it go on the field, but not much to say until we get there. And I think we said it when you rumored it. Like, yeah, this is going to be explosive. Like, this is going to be, it is gasoline on a fire of like a team that's fairly relevant in their market. You are bringing a player who is going to be a superhero to a lot of people in that market and has the potential to crush it on the field, which to LAFC's credit has been mainly the thing that matters. Like, Bouanga is a star, not because of his nationality or all their off-field stuff. Like, that team's market relevant when they're dangerous. And so the hope is that Son does both of them, and that will be something since Vela we haven't seen.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm really excited. And my son said, so I was like asking like, hey, did you call Hugo Lloris? And like kind of, and like Son like laughs. It was like one, like again, he had a lot of really like charming quotes. He's just like, oh, like Hugo's my captain again. Like I can't say anything bad. Like I can only like, I can only say like scripted nice words or whatever. And then again, of course he was just like, he's like, I love it. Like I love him. Like he's the best. He's so nice. There's nothing bad to say, like even jokes aside. So that'll be cool. Looking forward to that. But into other news, sources have told me that Fluminense have agreed a deal and are finalizing a deal to sign Lucho Costa from FC Dallas. The fees in the ballpark of $4 million plus add-ons. Lucho's agreed, like he just needs. I think he's in Brazil right now, finishing the deal. Got to sign the paperwork and make sure that everything that was verbally agreed to is in the contract, and then that deal will happen. San Jose Earthquakes tried to sign him. They pushed late. They were hoping to say, hey, like, you can't, if you stay in America, you still have the chance to play for the national team and get citizenship. Now he does not, as far as I understand. At least I'm not an immigration lawyer. I don't know. I'm not smart enough for this, but my understanding is there goes the opportunity for him to get citizenship because now he doesn't live here when he moves to Brazil. And yeah, San Jose wanted him in the winter. They were hoping that Hernan Lopez was going to leave this winter. And if they opened a DP spot, they were going to sign him or try to sign him. They were in the mix, as was Dallas, of course. And San Jose came back again this summer, and they just kind of came in a little bit too late, and he kind of gave his word to Fluminense that he was going there. So Lucho Costa, the era in Dallas lasts, 8 months, 7 months?
This is like, I mean, I guess the most shocking thing about this to me is that San Jose wanted to sign him. Like,
well, it's worked with Joseph and Chicho, man. Like,
I don't disagree,
I was like, I'm in.
But the rate this has disintegrated from newspaper article about how I'm in love with Cincinnati and I always want to be here to 2 teams in 5 months, 4 months. Like, that is just unsustainable stuff. And I liked the move for Dallas because I liked what he does on the field. And I, as I have said a million times, think of Musa in the highest regard. And like, I thought he was going to be more productive than Alan Velasco or Jesus Ferreira, either of them. And so you had him coming in at a lower number and all of that. But, I mean, to just push yourself out over and over again from these teams I think shows the type of player you don't really want around your group. And I guess for Dallas, what? It's like a $1 million haircut in the end.
Yeah, and so they had already, as part of the initial cash fair, they said we'll pick up your option in 27. So they're gonna get a lot of salary off the books. And again, like both parties looked at each other and said, "Hey, this didn't work out." And to your point, Goss, about Lucho and Musa, I picked Dallas to make the playoffs exclusively because of those two. I kept looking. I was like, I don't think this team's a playoff team. There's a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties. Maybe these other signings hit. And I was looking at it. I was like, dude, if they're in 5th place because Acosta has 15 goals and 20 assists and Petar Musa has 20 goals, I'm gonna feel so stupid that I didn't believe in it. And then obviously that hasn't worked out. But yeah, it was an interesting situation. But again, like, so you say this about San Jose. If you get a motivated, happy, and somebody a Lucho Acosta that fits within the team, that's still an MVP.
But what requires the motivation?
Again, that's fair. But that's why people are going to keep trying.
No, I get that. But Cincinnati was 1 goal away from MLS Cup. They won a Shield, and that wasn't the right situation for him. So then he gets to go to Dallas and be the guy and do whatever he wants. And I get it. They're not very good. Like, congratulations. If you want to be on a good team, don't leave the good team. Because then you're going to be on a bad team because that team's already a good one. And if you want to go somewhere else, you can't be on that team. That's the part that I find really frustrating. And then, obviously, the reporting around the fact that if he wanted to play for the U.S. men's national team, he, in leaving the country, will probably lose the ability to get his citizenship done in time and be a part of it, which I can't imagine wanting him on that team right now. So I don't know that that's as huge a loss as it would have felt 2 years ago. And maybe it's a good thing for us that he's like not eligible and can't sort of float right into Pochettino's plans of like, oh, an Argentine creative player, this is perfect for me. As we saw Mateo Mikovic get a ton of opportunity in January.
Who is it? Matko Mihovic?
Yeah,
who you
sorry. Yeah, was never going to get there on that one.
I was about to say it too, so I'm glad that you went first. Yeah, so that's that situation, and now Dallas continues another kind of facelift. Again, I was around Petar Musa. Like, I like Kaique. I like pieces in this team. Marco Farfan officially, Tigres now. They still have work to do, obviously, and we'll see if Eric Quill's the head coach in 2026.
All right, moving on from that.
We'll stick with, again, Fluminense. So they're signing Lucho Acosta to be their replacement for Arias, who left for Wolverhampton, like a $25 million deal. They were also trying to sign Santiago Moreno from the Portland Timbers. There is no deal agreed. It was getting closer, though. And by Tuesday night, sources told me that Santi Moreno went to GM Ned Grabavoy and said, with the suitcase, said, I'm taking myself and I'm leaving. I'm gone. Whether you do the transfer or not, I'm not coming back. And he said goodbye to his teammates, I think, to try to pressure this move to happen. I was reporting this out yesterday, and it was just like, hey, if he's not on the bus, then, like, we'll have some, like, just give him the chance that maybe he'll show up. And I was like, sources have told me he's on a plane to Colombia. Like, he's not coming up. So I will say, Portland, we're going to, like, the bid was not their valuation of player anyway. It was $4 million. America de Cali, I believe, was the club that Portland signed him from, had 20% of the sell on. So Portland were saying a $4 million bid to us is like $3.2 million. Why would we do that? So they were going back and forth. And if Fluminense came up, they were reluctantly going to let him go. But now, I don't know, man. Like, there is no good resolution here because if Santi Moreno is saying, like, I'm just not coming back, then, like, they don't have the player anyway. But if Portland say, okay, we'll do the deal, like, hopefully you get closer, then what's to stop the next player from being like, okay, cool, if, like, they reject a bid, but I want them, like, if I just stop showing up. So they're really upset with the player. I don't think that they're thrilled with Fluminense, as far as my understanding. They believe that this is tampering, right? And, again, like, so they were getting closer on a deal, and now I think the only way a deal happens, and again, sources told me this morning, like, very unlikely. Like, Portland are pissed. We'll see what happens, but I think Fluminense are going to have to pay a premium for, like, whatever to make everything okay if this happens. And again, like, Portland don't want this to happen because they're really upset about the behavior in this situation.
Yeah, this one also has cycled pretty quickly. Anthony returned from injury last night, which is a good sign for them. It gives them another option in case this gets drawn out or doesn't go the way you'd want. I would argue they have. I love Santi Moreno as a player. I think he's been underrated by people in general. Like, I think he's been a difference maker in MLS. And as we've said over and over, like I've understood teams that have thought to go and get him and elevate him on their depth chart in terms of options and building teams, not around him, but having him be maybe more central. But I would say Portland has cover for this. And there's like, if they don't pick up a red card yesterday, I think they probably beat Club America. Like they've looked really good over the last few weeks. And so this went from this is a concern to me to like, obviously you don't want this to happen. And he's a really strong asset to try and get something out of, to have money to then spend in the future. But just make sure it doesn't disturb your club, I think, as much as possible at this point. And Fluminense, like, it's wild, man. They're just out here. They came to the U.S. for the Club World Cup. They're like, it's kind of nice here. Oh, there's soccer? Let's acquire this soccer and bring it where we live.
So this, again, I feel like this is a little bit of reckless speculation. So I want to preface this by I don't know if this is 100% true. I've asked a couple people who say that makes sense, but I don't know if it's true either. Apparently, so they got to the semifinals of the Club World Cup. It was like, they were one of the most positive stories. They got a lot of prize money. What I was told, if they take that prize money out of America and bring it back to Brazil, it gets taxed to hell. But if they sign players in MLS, they have more money to spend because it's not like the taxes of bringing it back to Brazil. And then to like, again, this sounds like a couple dudes sitting at the bar being like, no, bro, I'm pretty sure this would like.
But this is how the world works. This is how the world works.
And so their point is like, our buying power is going to be stronger in America because the money's there and it like will have a higher percentage of it. Again, that's how it was relayed to me. And I've asked several people who are smarter than me, and they didn't say it was the dumbest thing they've ever heard. So again, I don't know if this is completely true, but it's an interesting one because again, they had a bid for Rafa Nuvahu, 3 bids rejected by Colorado. The last of which was at $7 million, and they might come again. Like, so we'll see. And then somebody else said like, if they don't get him, or if they don't get Moreno, like other MLS teams, like they're gonna just go to the next ones. Like I don't know if that's I'm not aware of their thinking, but this is a very fun subplot of the summer that I did not expect to see come.
It would be a great injection of cash for MLS teams to use that money to then go and sign other players and sort of. We've talked about being part of the international window, like or the transfer market. Like Brazil is higher on the food chain, so if you can send players there, you can be another stop like Colombia, like Ecuador, like Venezuela, where players can be developed and then sent there. It would be wild if it was more domestic players. Like that would be a new dawn if we had them come in and be like, we're looking at, I don't know, Quinn Sullivan and Brian Gutierrez. Those are the two additions that we want to make. Would be an absolutely wild thing for Fluminense. You mentioned Rafa Navajo. That would be a heartbreaker. Like we already talked about Georgie. That would be like just catastrophic, I think, for Colorado fans. But I would not blame them for being extremely worried.
Yeah. But that's so with Colorado, like they know that Rafa is going to go at something, whether it's this summer or the winter, or, when they signed him, it was like he was 22 at the time. If you do well, you'll play well here. You'll help the team, and then we'll sell you on. Like we understand that that's part of the ecosystem. So whether that's now or within the next window, like probably going to happen, and that's part of the business. It's like the Georgia one's the one that hurt just because of how that went. But really quickly with Portland, so Santi probably don't count on him, whether he's technically on the team or not. If a deal gets done with Fluminense or not, who knows what's going to happen there. What we do know is that they're finalizing deals to sign Christopher Velde from Olympiacos as a DP. Fee is somewhere in the ballpark of like $5 to $6 million. And they're also signing former Red Bull loanee Felipe Carballo on loan from Gremio. And those are 2 starters, right? That's a DP and a key center mid. So Portland are reloading and building for the stretch run here.
I'll be fascinated to watch Carballo in a non-Red Bull system. You saw the goals last year in the playoffs. Big game player. You didn't see a ton of him in possession, creating the game, changing the game. And ground coverage, I think, was good, but like it's very specific with the Red Bulls. So I'm actually really excited to see him in Portland. Not saying that I think it will work. I'm just curious to see the full soccer player that he is and how Portland is able to use him.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it as well. Kind of going back to Colorado. So with Georgie gone, so you asked on the show, and I was still gathering info about did Colorado try to offer him a new contract? I was told not like they were like more or less, hey, we'll talk in the winter. Like they were open to a new deal, but it was kind of clear that like his mind was made up and was going to Toronto. How will they replace him? There's 2 schools of thought, per sources. Is one, which is probably the more likely, based on their history and what's available, is they take that money, whatever that they get out of it, because there's still solidarity payments, and then you can convert it to GAM, which is obviously helpful. But like, they're not going to get $8 million into their bank account to then go buy players, right? But multiple players from within the league is what they could do cash-ins, they could do GAM deals. Like, hey, how can we replace Georgia Mihailovic with a couple players rather than just like we'll have one marquee type player and then using the rest of that money to add to the team. And then the other one is,
how do you replace a Jason Giambi? How do you replace a Johnny Damon?
I tried so hard to not say replace Georgia Mihailovic in the aggregate because that was going to sound too corny. Shout out Moneyball.
He's got calves like a racehorse.
You see? Have you? Oh God, I'm not even going to go down to some of the jokes.
It gets more and more problematic.
That was the one I was about to say. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to say it. Anyway, but there is a possibility. And this might depend on Hafa Navahu and what happens with Fluminense right now, is like they have targets in Europe, targets that would be much more expensive than trading for players within MLS. And that's something that they're firmly considering. It's like, okay, how about we take the money and try to sign a better DP10 or like spend more than we ever have rather than, hey, we sell Georgie, let's go get 3 players. Like both of those tracks are on the table, and I'm very curious to see which way they go.
Okay.
Beyond that, FC Cincinnati are making moves. They've signed Ghanaian midfielder Samuel Gidi, who's playing in Slovakia, I believe. U22 initiative, a midfielder. He's already had 105 first-team appearances in Europe, which is strong for a player who's 21 or 22. He can play as a 6 or an 8, so they believe firmly that he's going to be able to play next to Buka and also next to Obi Nwobodo, which is important for the versatility. But what I'm told is he's more of like a ball player than a destroyer, right? Like, he can progress the ball better than Obi Nwobodo and Brian Anungara. And in terms of like his best skill, like the data that they loved is his ball retention numbers are really, really good. And when you talk ball retention, like Darlington Nagbe is a patron saint of ball retention. And I'm not saying that in any way, but it's just like that style of play rather than say a destroyer or even necessarily like a through ball artist, right? Like he's somebody who is going to help them play possession soccer better. And I'm excited to see how quickly he's able to settle because they're going to need him now because they're going to need center midfield depth with Obi Nwobodo out for however much longer he's out. So I'm excited to see Samuel Gidi, FC Cincinnati.
I'm laughing because we for sure have some Fluminense fans in here who are asking questions about Santi Moreno, and I think back to your interactions on social media with Fluminense fans who are now big fans of yours because you spoke back to them or whatever it is. In this, Corey Baird traded to San Diego as part of FC Cincinnati's moves. On the one hand, I could tell you, great move. This is the Milan-Olaski replacement. He's a runner. He can be a factor off the ball with a little bit of quality on the ball. On the other hand, I've been hurt too many times before on the Corey Baird move to another team. Didn't work at LAFC. Thought it would be genius. Did work at Houston, though.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Goes to Cincinnati. Great move. Doesn't work. So, yeah, he has had success in possession-heavy style teams like Houston. Yep. He's had success in possession-light teams like RSL, but it's just too hot and cold. I understand he's not supposed to be like the center force of this team, but he is a clear Milan-Olaski attempt at a replacement, but I'm not going to let you spin me yet. I'm not there.
I'm excited about it. And, like, for San Diego, like, Cincinnati are covering most of his salary, and he has an option for 26. So you bring a SoCal kid home. He's very excited about the chance to go home, to be where his family is, and get a fresh start with a new team. And again, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, they part ways. Like, so it's, I don't know, I like this one, but like you said, this is more of like depth and rotation, obviously, than like expecting somebody to be a starter. And like, again, even with Milan-Olaski, like, I don't think it's fair to even, put that, like that type of, I guess, pressure on this move because they, like, San Diego doesn't see it that way. They like him a lot. They're hopeful, but like Olaski scored 10 goals, like small minutes, but like that's still 10 goals. What else do we have? Orlando officially signed Spanish defender Adrian Marin from Braga, I believe, and I don't know a ton about him. He's a left back who can also play center back. It's something that they needed, and it'll give Oscar Pereira another option. Elsewhere for Orlando, interest for like Luis Muriel potential exit this summer has cooled. I was told a few weeks ago when I believe it was Junior FC in Colombia that was all real and like that was a possibility. Luis Muriel even said that he would want to, but hey, I'll honor my contract with Orlando. That's cooled off. Maybe we'll see something in the winter. The interest is still there, but like I'm viewing that this summer as unlikely. And then the big one for them is what happens with Alex Freeman. So he's got 18 months left in his contract. It seems unlikely that he's going to sign a new deal. But he wants to stay, right? Like they're trying to thread a needle here of like particularly the next 12 months. So there's a possibility this summer they agree a deal with the European team and they loan him back through next summer. And I think that'd be the best case scenario for everybody. Alex Freeman gets to keep playing. Orlando don't have to, they still get another 12 months of a really, really good starting right back and all-star. And they get their money rather than the fear of him maybe leaving for free in 18 months. So that's an interesting one. There's a lot of teams that have been in for him. I think that they've received bids from 5 or 6 clubs, something like that. So yeah, everything there is real, and we'll see what happens. But I think the best potential outcome for all parties would be a deal now with a loan back for a year.
Alex Freeman, rocket ship from not a starter to USMNT lockdown starter, and now potential playing in another league. It makes a ton of sense. It would make the most sense for him to continue to progress as a pro where he is while going into the World Cup. And then off the back of that, for any club, the reason they would do it is because they would get a fee locked pre-World Cup. Because if he goes and plays for the U.S., that number goes up. The disadvantage, of course, is you're loaning him back to another team. You never know what's going to happen. I think that's sort of the give and take that I feel like Orlando could come to an agreement with another team.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. It's definitely one of the stories to watch. A couple more quick ones. Columbus Crew rejected Middlesbrough's bid of around $3 million. Just rejected it out of hand. They don't want to sell. They've been pretty clear about that. I don't know if Burrow comes back or not. And Honduras international center back Julian Martinez, 21 years old, really talented kid. Both NYCFC and Philadelphia Union were seriously chasing him and really wanted him. But a Portuguese club has come in, and it seems like he's going to head off to Portugal. But maybe there's a late twist there, but I'm not sure.
All right. So that takes us through our scoops and our ice cream shop. We've got a lot more, of course, coming as the window remains open. We will have that for you every single show. We'll be back next Monday. Then Tom is going to my favorite place in the world, so he'll be away on vacation a little bit, but we have some great shows lined up for you as well. As MLS resumes out of Leagues Cup, reminder, so Saturday night, a match night, not as large as normal. Sunday, basically 6 games on Sunday, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time, running through midnight. So reminder, if you are trying to tune back in, check out the games and check out the schedule there. Some interesting ones, not as many big ones as you'd like. San Jose against Vancouver on Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, one of the better games. Philadelphia hosts Toronto. You assume to see Georgi Mihailovic make his debut in that one. That's a really cool one, I think, for Toronto fans to finally have something to be excited about and tune in for. Cincinnati, Charlotte on Sunday, and then the big ones. You close out with Orlando City, Inter Miami on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then LA Galaxy hosting the Seattle Sounders. Maybe a little less juice this year, but could be a Leagues Cup semifinal preview going forward, which is what everyone is locked in for and everyone's tuning in for. Before we go, every week we do our 50 States of Soccer here across the Kickback Network. We're going to have a live streamed happy hour coming up 5:30 p.m. Eastern time today on the Kickback Committee YouTube page. We have Susanna Fuller, who will be there for that, myself, Heath Pierce, and then some Wisconsin soccer royalty that's going to be joining us because we are on Wisco this week. So we have all of the different things that we like to do across our 50 States of Soccer. We ask questions about the greatest soccer moment in state history, the best players, the best soccer bar, all of this. We had a really good episode on Tuesday with Peter Wilt, who walked us through a lot of what has happened in Wisconsin soccer history and some of the best locations and the best places. Here at Soccerwise, we focus in on the field, on the 5 best players. We create a 5-a-side, which you don't need a goalie, as a debate we had with Jordan yesterday, Tom. I think it's really the 5 best players. And then if we're stuck between 2 and we're between a hair here or there, then you could start to get with how they would play, positional, all of that.
I view it more as because I'm not shoehorning in a goalkeeper over somebody else. If it ends up being 5 forwards, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And 5 forwards, Tom. I didn't think you'd be one of those. I didn't think you'd be full MLS all-star.
Or 5 center backs. I'm not looking at positional versatility in this.
Okay, so we've gotten a lot of feedback, and we are still looking for more because we have not closed out the week yet. So we still have the debate that we'll have on the happy hour this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are, and join us for that. Be in the chat, send in all your thoughts, hang out with us. A clear and obvious few are Leslie Osborne and Jay DeMerit. Those are the two that everyone has said that are fully locked in. A ton of national team caps, a ton of success at college ranks, a ton of success at the pro ranks. Those feel cut and dry, obvious. After that, there is a bit more of a conversation. So Jesse Marsh has come up a ton. The problem now being, are we talking pure playing? And if we are, I would argue Jesse Marsh could be in here. But I don't know that it's as obvious as everyone's saying soccer identity, Wisconsin, name this person, and Jesse Marsh comes up pretty quickly. Casey Lloyd is one that we talked about yesterday with Jordan, longtime UNC player, played with the U.S. national team, played across the pro ranks, now married to Zach Lloyd, who played at FC Dallas, and they run a team at TST that we've seen over the last few years. And she has dominated for the U.S. women's team. Winning TST 2 years in a row, which I don't know how that goes on a resume for pure soccer on field, but I think it has to be mentioned. Lauren Sesselman, another one that we did not mention yesterday that we should have. 45 caps for Canada, played at a time when there wasn't really a proper pro ranks for a lot of it, so spent some time with the Houston Dash, but not a ton of leagues for her to play in. And Sarah Hagan, another one that we mentioned on the women's side of things. On the men's side, Jimmy Banks is one that's come up a lot. 1990 World Cup player, first African-American on a U.S. World Cup roster. His son, J.C. Banks, longtime USL player. Jimmy Banks coached for a long time at the Milwaukee Engineer University and is considered by many who have seen him one of the best players, which I think when you go to like lore players where it's like people don't really understand unless they saw them in person, I think Jimmy Banks could be on that list as well. Matt Polster and Kate Margraf are tough ones. They were both born in Wisconsin, weren't really raised there. I can't speak to their Wisconsinited abilities there, but other people can. And then two of the ones that haven't come up as often, which I was surprised by, but I'm bringing up, is Andrea Novakovic, who 28 years old still, has played in Italy most of his career, scored a ton of goals in the Netherlands, has scored some goals in Italy for Venezia, Lecce, and now with Bari, pretty much all in Serie B, a couple caps with the national team as well. And one of the names that has been sent to us is Esmir Baraktarovic. We need 5, Tom. So we're locked in on 2. We've got Leslie Osborne and Jay DeMerit locked. Is Jesse Marsh a lock?
I think so. I think so. Like, again, if you want to do the argument of if it's just on the field stuff, then maybe. But like we talked about on the last show, I
think
would
he might still be one.
And again, I'm saying like he'd still be in the, but it wouldn't be a total lock like we're talking about. And I do think Jimmy Banks, like, and then you pick between Casey Lloyd, Novakovic. I think Polster's is a little bit below them. And again, Esmir, one day it's too early for him. So I feel like I'm missing one name here.
No, I think by the way, on Esmir, like I think we'll get to some states where it's like that player has earned it. Like you don't need to have a full resume.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think he is one in this scenario. One that we got on Blue Sky, which I'm really excited about. And again, this goes to learning about these places and not knowing. Apparently, Wesley Matthews was a great soccer player before he went the full basketball route. And someone was saying that he like would have been on this list if he had chosen to stick with soccer. So I thought that was a cool one to learn.
That's incredible. When you said Wesley Matthews, I was just like, I immediately went to the NBA player. I was like, is there a soccer player that I don't know of?
Right, like the basketball player? And you're like, no, the actual basketball player.
Like, wow.
Okay, so I think probably Lauren Sesselman is the next one. 45 caps, Olympic medals with the Canadian national team. That feels like a pretty big resume to try and overcome. So that would give us Leslie Osborne, Jay DeMerit, Jesse Marsh, Casey Lloyd, and Lauren Sesselman. I feel pretty good about that one. Sorry, Jimmy Banks, not Casey Lloyd. Jimmy Banks and Lauren Sesselman. But
I like that.
I will present this to our final committee on the happy hour. We will all come back together, and then we will decide on where we land. We've got a whole new state lined up for next week. It is one that is loaded for talent, and that's me saying that as an outsider. So I am excited to see all our responses and learn more about it. Thank you once again to Ari and Noah from Lobbing Scorchers. Always awesome to chat with them. Always fun to have them on. The amount of effort Noah put on to get on this show is dwarfs what we do, and we are the hosts of this show, and we probably should be a little bit more locked in like he is. And Ari, one of the best covering soccer, and as I said, sound our heart, Lobbing Scorchers, subscribe to the all. So thank you to all of you for listening. Thank you to you, Tom, and we'll be back next week with a ton of content. So shout out everyone and have a good weekend.